Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It is your favorite warlock here, practicing necromancer. Today, I want to come forth and discuss with you the importance of routines. What does it mean to have a routine? Having a routine means that there are certain things that you do on a daily basis. What is the first thing that you do when you wake up in the morning? 9 times out of 10, it is to use the restroom. Then you get dressed, you make your bed, you eat breakfast, you brush your teeth. You know what I'm saying? These are daily routines for the average mundane individual. So, what about those of you in the occult community? Those who follow a creed, for an example, the Witch's Creed, the Witch's Oath, the importance of dedication towards the very deities that you worship, or at least claim to worship. Doing the daily rites and giving offerings and sacrifices. E- I wouldn't give sacrifices on a, or even offerings on a daily basis, more like maybe on a weekly. For an example, daily devotion to a spirit or entity is one thing, for they are your guides, your teachers. Dedicated reading, dedicated practice. This allows you to get into a routine. Daily meditations, daily physical fitness, if you will. You got to remember that the mind, the body, and the soul or the spirit all need to be nourished for you to be a better version of yourself compared to who you were yesterday or today. If you get into a routine and you put a routine forth, you will prosper. But again, it comes down to that creed and that routine that you follow. If you follow the witch's creed, the witch's oath, the witch's pyramid, to know, to dare, to will, to keep silent, and to go forth. Okay? 5 elements, the 5 stages of practice. To dare to go forth literally means you have to dare to go against society. You have to dare to do what others are unwilling to do. Okay? This does not mean go out and start a fight. No, it means to apply yourself to a philosophy, a particular practice that will benefit you personally. To know. To know means you have to know what you're talking about. Okay? You can't just arrive on a scene and claim to be a witch, to be a warlock, to be a necromancer. To take a title such as these, is not an easy choice. In fact, most would avoid taking a negative word, such as it is viewed today, such as Maramberos, a Capilata, or a Bokor, okay, a warlock even. Because in today's cultures, specifically that of the religious and philosophical perspectives, a warlock is taken from a Anglo-Saxon and Welsh etymology, okay? Meaning that if you are a warlock, you are considered to be an oath breaker and betrayer, okay? A liar, okay? Or in Christian terminology, you are an agent of the devil, meaning you are the enemy, okay? A Bokor or Capilata, the female version of a Bokor, is somebody who is considered to be uninitiated. Okay, and I've discussed these terminologies before, but in this case, I want you to take the narrative of this, the very definition. Okay, an oath breaker, a betrayer, a liar, somebody who is uninitiated. These are considered to be excuses of why you don't want to hold a title such as these. Okay. But when you get into the actual etymology and you begin to study, you begin to research these titles and take them back to their earliest forms, then you realize a capilata, a bokor, is somebody who utilizes both hands. A warlock is nothing more than a male practitioner of witchcraft. Okay. If you go into the Caribbean traditions, you have what is known as a marimberos. A marimberos is just another form of a bokor or a warlock. So you have to know what you're taking on, the choice that you make to get into witchcraft, to get into sorcery. Okay. But you also have to know what your rights are from a religious standpoint, from a political standpoint, not just a legal standpoint. Okay. You have to know how to defend yourself if need be. Okay. If somebody deploys sorcery against you, then you have to know how to conquer that, to counteract it, to cancel it out, or to even utilize that energy that is a negative form of energy and make it into a positive to benefit what you're doing. Okay. Now, what's interesting here is to dare to know. Now you have to go into to will. You have to will yourself to go forth because of the fact that to will means that you have to will yourself to do what others don't want to do, to will yourself to walk a path of solitary confinement. Okay. This path is not easy. It is not one of, how should I say this, herd conformity. Covens, temples, churches, these are all herd conformity. They are based off the JCI, the Hermeneutics. Reverse Christianity is what in Satanism is referred to as reverse Christianity. Okay. And that's basically what it is. Anton Zandalevay created a system that is based off reversed engineering of Catholic rights. Okay, and this goes all the way back to Catholicism. It goes back to polytheistic traditions. It goes back to many, many centuries before it. Okay. Now, what's interesting here is that once you've willed yourself to walk this path, to dare yourself to study and to delve into things that people would consider to be amoral or wrong, they'll tell you you're going to go to hell if you pick up a book on witchcraft or black magic. They're going to tell you that the devil owns your soul, that you are a heathen. They will limit you, they will call you names, they will place a title upon you and a reputation. You have to will yourself to ignore these individuals. You have to will yourself to continue forth and steadfast, uh, how should I say this? Steadfast upon your journey because it is your particular journey. It is your unique journey. It is that relationship between you and the spirits that you work with. To keep silent is simplistically saying, don't speak to what you're doing. If you speak and tell people that you are going to go over and you're going to curse so and so, you're giving them the opportunity to counteract that or to return to sender if they have the magical know how. Okay. Or at best, go to somebody and pay them to do the work for them. Okay. Which is basically putting your ass in a hot seat, basically, because it will come back on you. It cancels out on the target or the victim and comes right back to you. So you want to keep silent about your actions. To go forth basically means to go with pride, honor, integrity, respect. Do what you do best, which is to study, to research, to commune through dedicated, committed practice, through apotheosis in the truest sense. So, this is the witch's creed, the witch's oath, and the witch's pyramid being broken down into these five stages. Okay. And every single tradition out there has a creed. Does not matter if it is the witch's oath. It does not matter. It does not matter if it is the Ten Commandments. It does not matter if you are following the statements, the 11 rules of the earth, the satanic principles, if you will. You evolve through your own dedicated, committed journey on all levels. It has nothing to do with so and so. It is between you and those spirits that you work with. There's an old expression that says that you will make haters. Okay. I believe it's Mark chapter 5 in the Bible that says, apologize to your brother and seek forgiveness before he cries Raka and places your ass in front of the judge, jury, and executioner. Now we all know Matthew 7:1, and 7:2, which says, "Judge not that ye not be judged." And most importantly, before you can remove the speck from your brother's eye, you must first remove the big wooden log from your own. Okay. Now, if we take these simplistic meanings, these proverbs, what do they actually mean? You can't judge a book by its cover. You could be shown one thing over here. While over here, person's doing something completely different. Individuality. But you're going to make haters along the journey. And here it is. Win by actions, not by arguments. This is in the 48 Laws of Power. Okay. And the thing about the 48 Laws of Power is that when you begin to apply it to your life, it would be like the 33 strategies of warfare. The Art of War by Sun Tzu, or the political aspects, say, of War and Peace, classic Russian literature. Love that book. You can even go through Marcus Aurelius, played both sides. He was basically neutral because it didn't matter who was victorious. It was about playing the game. If you want to go by Bokor Leonard Amera, his perspective is to be on top, you have to put in the footwork. That's more modern day, but right to the point. Just without the bullshit. Literally cutting that red tape. You put the work in, no one else. But there will be those who get in your way. And the best thing to do, ignore those fuckers. They mean nothing. They're too afraid to get off their high horse and do what they claim that they do. If you look at some, they claim to be witches, they claim to be warlocks, but yet they're the first ones to bitch. They're the first ones to sit there and ask the questions. Why is my magic not working? Why is my world crumbling? Why is everybody suddenly blocking me? Why are they leaving me? Why did my family leave? Why did this happen? Why did that happen? Okay. But take a look at it from this way. There's another perspective. You ask the spirits to benefit you and not caring how it happens. So don't be surprised if you do that and they open those doors while closing off other doors. Last fall, September into November, my son and his mother moved out. At the time, in my mind, it was because she cheated. Yet again, makes three. But here it is. I was more focused on my religious and philosophical studies. I didn't give two shits what she was doing. I like loyalty, trust, honor. She wanted a poly type household. She wanted free reign. So I gave her that free reign. She wanted certain things to happen. She went to her God as a Baptist woman. Nothing happened. She came to me. I did the work. Boom. Benefits. You win through nutrition. Her family hates me, so they did everything to get her away from me because I'm not a Christian. This is a limitation because it becomes about a religious warfare. So again, you have to know both parties. Marcus Aurelius, Book of Meditations. Okay. Even Friedrich Nietzsche spoke on teaching, about teachers. about guides, about education. Every religious philosophy out there has priests and priestesses. If you don't know that by now, you never will. But again, it comes down to you and what you're willing to do and go through to find victory in your practice. A wise man once said, only through tribulation and trials can true advancement be taken into account. Basically, what that means is for you to prosper, for you to win, you must suffer. But while you suffer, you are applying the routines. The mind you have to clear. You have to work with your chakras, your kundalini. You have to meditate daily. You have to work your body. This means working out, cardiovascular, keeping it pure, utilizing fastings, working the spirit, meaning mediumship, performing rites and rituals and communions with your spirits, your patrons and patronesses on a daily basis. Think of all of this stuff as as different forms of muscles. A lot of weightlifters that get into weightlifting, they think it's about upping the ante, constantly upping that ante, and then sitting back and wondering, why are my muscles not growing? I had a doctor's appointment back on the 7th of this month, and I was talking with my new doctor, and I said that I was. She asked me, what's new, and I told her that I had begun back in January putting together a routine. This means breaking down, eating certain food groups, staying away from red meat, working out. And she had her little words to put in, limitations, and I called her out on it. I said, obviously, you don't know what you're talking about. And this is why. Any bodybuilder, anybody in the martial arts knows, or any form of cardiovascular activity knows that the muscles can only take in so much nutrients. So if you sit there and you inhale, say, 5 hot dogs, a family size Velveeta stuffed shells, for an example, you're a baked potato, French fries, chips, whatever. Your body is not going to be able to absorb all of that in that one setting. So it basically moves through your system and does nothing. But if you break these meals down into smaller portions, spread them out, say, every 3 hours, and you eat smaller portions. Like, say, you eat eggs, oatmeal, you have OJ, orange juice, glass of milk for breakfast. 3 hours later, you have a muffin, maybe some toast with some jam. Another 3 hours, you eat, say, for an example, a baked potato and a salad. You know, 3 hours later, you have the proteins and the carbs. 3 hours later, you have a nice, pleasant meal. In spirituality, it's something completely different because we do a lot of fasting. Okay, a lot of fasting, and the reason we do fastings is because It rids ourselves of all the harmful or baneful toxins stored up in our bodies. More so, our immune system, our digestive system has what is referred to as a reset button. Say, for an example, if you do it the Keta fasting or the Daniel's fasting. How about the Black Fast, which is a severe Catholic fasting? And one that I recently learned, which is called the milk fast, which is basically meaning you're fasting with pure milk that has no ingredients, no additives to it. Basically, at certain intervals throughout this fast, you start feeling hungry. You get tired, and all of a sudden, it's like a kickstart, and you have a hell of a lot of energy. Okay, this is what is going on, is because you're ridding yourself. You're drinking a lot of H2O, water, to help yourself remain full. So within, say, for an example, 13 to 18 hours, your body has already switched over. It started eating all those fat cells, all that stored up crap that you don't need in your body. This is what keeps you looking fat, if you will. It's not eating or dieting. No, you're building it up. You're eating it at this point, and you're burning through all these calories, which is why you're having more and more energy as time goes on. But as I said, it's also that redo, that reset button. And trust me, it works. I've been doing it now for about 6 years, once a year. I do a fast. More so, getting that routine going, living a certain lifestyle, becoming dedicated within your religious studies, your philosophical studies, your practices. You're applying it. You go into meditate daily. You commune with your patrons daily. When you perform rituals and rites, asking and petitioning these spirits to open up the doors and to guide you to something better for you, don't be surprised when that happens, because not everything is good for you. Just because doctors are telling you to eat meat does not mean that meat is good. It could have additives that is put into the feed that the animal ingests. Same thing with your salads. Okay. I'm not trying to tell you to be paranoid, because you don't have to be. It's just, be smart about it. Do your research, delve into those practices, and you will be surprised at what you can find out and what you can do. First time I did the fast, I was not prepared. I was not prepared for it, and it took me by surprise. Following year, I went back to it. This time I had a chance to do my research, find out, okay, I can eat unleavened bread with honey. I can eat eggs. I can eat certain things that will nourish my body throughout the month. But I've also got to work out. I've got to work, right? So the same day that my relationship ended, I also lost my job at Winterberry Heights. Turned in the keys, said, up yours, and left. Spent the next month resting, recuperating, deciding what is my next steps. Back in November, I was hired at a new job. a better job than what I was already in. So you see, just because you're working in a medical facility, a lot of people think, oh, that's a good job. You are working for a healthcare system as a dietary aide or a chef or a doctor, an RA, MA, RN, MCRA, or, whatever those freaking titles are. Um, but here it is. I'm also in college, earning a psychology degree, a bachelor's degree, I should say, is what I'm going for first, because the bachelor's degree is going to get me into thanatology, which is the study of death and dying. And once I complete that, guess what? I found another aspect to necromancy that will help me further my studies and practices, not just my career as a necromancer, and that's anthropology. You see, my patrons and patronesses that I work with and have been working with since January 1st on a full time dedicated routine has opened this up for me. A few weeks ago, the assistant general manager was basically put his 2 weeks in, terminated, allowed to finish out his 2 weeks. I was talking with my manager, and he made the snark remark of, "To hell with so and so. I'd rather have you as my AGM." Well, he was surprised when I said, "I'm game." He did not see it coming because up until that point, I've shown no interest in moving up the food chain. I stayed right there, just barely visible, just into the shadows, but just out of that view. They know my work, they know my history, they know that I am one of the best, one of a few that is good at what they do. Well, then I was given the opportunity for one of two positions: a teacher or overseer of the chefs, the baking, the cooks. Well, guess what? I took it. Just waiting on it to become official at this point. But it's that next step along that evolutionary trail, that journey. But you're doing it in a way that is smart. You're utilizing a routine. You're communing with spirits. You're working on yourself. You're bettering yourself, because the only person you're in contact with in a contest, the only person you're racing in a marathon is yourself. You're the only one who can become better than you were today, than you were yesterday. And it's funny because I look back over the last couple of months and I started thinking about the major arcana card known as the Tower. For something to be created from an alchemical perspective, you have to destroy. You have to break it down to its most basic element, most basic components. Because only then can you create that firm foundation and start building for something better. When I was with my ex, I couldn't keep money in the account. She would spend it faster than you can rake it in. She would get piss her money away, give it to other people, commit fraud, you name it. And it's interesting because I'm the proverbial bad guy, right? Well, guess what? Within 2.5 months, my son has over $800 saved. I have over 1,000 saved. I have another $100+ right in my altar room sitting on that altar that I have given as an offering, as a sacrifice, a personal sacrifice, and a way for me to say thank you to the spirits that I work with. Okay. But more so, I've dedicated myself to the ministry, to my practices, to bettering myself because I'm focusing on me and my son, no one else. That's what this year is about. That's what this journey that I undertook back in January 1st was about. It was about becoming closer to Deitas. It was about evolving and becoming better, a better version of myself. It wasn't about ego. It wasn't about pride. It was about knowledge. It was about bettering myself, mastering myself, becoming a better version of myself. But more so, I wanted to become a better sorcerer. I wanted to become a better practitioner. I taught everything I knew up until that point. Everything that I knew. Now it's about me. It's all about me. It's about my spirituality. It's about my career. It's about my personal journey in the field that I have chosen that fits me, that I'm dedicated to, that I've made a blood pact with. Okay. I've made the pacts. I've put the time and energy and the dedicated and committed journey into this field to where I have 5 essays. Even my own elder, one of my elders, looked at me and asked me, "Have you ever considered writing a book?" Yeah, I thought about it. I've had a few essays published through Edgar Cavall's Sabbatica, was it Anthropology of Sabbatica series. Well, I'm not interested in writing a book. I could care less about that. My journey is about me. Your journey should be about you. You want to get better? Put your boots on the ground. Get your hands dirty. Roll up those sleeves and delve on in. You got to be the one to discern to put that routine into play. You're the one that has to choose which philosophy fits you best. And it is you who can become the better version of yourself. The demons, all they can do is be your teachers and guides, your protectors. You got to be the one to can sit there and go, okay, you're just waiting for my sorry ass to get into a ritual and say, hey, I know you're waiting for me. Let's get this shindig going. You know what I'm saying? You're the only one who can do that. No one else. So think about routines. Think about philosophies. Think about your lifestyle. Get into it. That's all I wanted to say. Have a good day.